Welcome to Film Hub Recaps. Grab the popcorn and let's start. Following the events of Terminator 2, Judgment Day, John Connor has been living off the grid in Los Angeles. Although Judgment Day did not occur on August 29, 1997, the date given by the Terminator in the previous film, John does not believe that the prophesied war between humans and Skynet has been averted. Skynet sends a new Terminator model, the TX, back in time to July 24, 2004. The TX is transported into the city. It kills a woman, takes her Lexus coupe and dons her clothing. It dials in via modem to the school district database and builds a list of targets. When it is stopped by an officer for speeding, it increases its breast size and admires his Smith & Wesson 45-06-1 pistol. Brewster and her fiancé, Scott Peterson, are in a department store adding items to their wedding gift registry. Her father, Lieutenant General Robert Brewster, calls to tell her he won't be able to visit due to computer problems at work. A worker tells General Brewster that a virus has infected half the public internet and many military applications. The T-850 Terminator arrives in the desert outside LA and locates a bar open for women's night. It enters and takes clothing from a male stripper. Meanwhile, John breaks into a veterinary office to obtain drugs to treat injuries he sustained in a motorcycle accident. Brewster arrives at the veterinary clinic at 5:00 a.m. to meet a customer whose cat is ill. She encounters John, disarming him due to his drug-induced weakness, and locks him in a kennel cage just before the customer arrives. A few minutes later, the TX arrives, seeking Brewster. It kills the customer with the officer's pistol. When it licks it to examine the blood sample, it immediately identifies John himself. Kate Brewster manages to escape to the parking lot, where the TX intercepts her. It holds a boot on Kate's neck, demanding Connor's location. The Terminator arrives and interrupts the interrogation by smashing the TX into a concrete block building at high speed with a truck. The Terminator learns Connor's location from Brewster, locks her in the back of her truck, and then finds Connor. When the TX rises from the mass of concrete debris, the Terminator instructs Connor to run and moves forward to intercept the TX. Connor gets in Brewster's truck and drives away at high speed. In a fight with the Terminator, the TX discharges a plasma weapon that disables the Terminator. The TX then injects several nearby emergency vehicles with nanomachines and dispatches them in pursuit of Connor and Brewster's truck. The TX walks by the police and emergency responders unnoticed and commandeers a large mobile crane and follows after the emergency vehicles. The Terminator revives and seizes a police motorcycle from an officer and begins to chase after the TX. During the chase, the TX and the Terminator destroy many vehicles and buildings. The Terminator finally ejects the TX from the cab, but the TX catches hold of the truck by the rear bumper. The Transformer drops the crane hook into a manhole, engaging the cable, and jumps to Brewster's truck. As the TX re-enters the crane's cab, the cable runs out and the crane and rig are flipped upside down. The TX emerges, driving Brewster's truck. The Terminator tells Connor that in the future Connor and Brewster are married, and that it successfully killed Connor in 2032. Brewster then captured the Terminator and reprogrammed it to return to the past and protect them. The Terminator saves Connor and Brewster from the TX's attack, and the three visit the mausoleum where Sarah Connor is buried after she died of leukemia 10 years ago. Inside the casket, they find a weapons cache left by Sarah's friends as stipulated in her will, a backup in case Judgment Day was not averted. The TX, impersonating Brewster's boyfriend, arrives shortly after the police and a battle ensues, but Connor and the Terminator steal a hearse and escape. They rescue Brewster from the TX as it transforms from her fiancé back into a female shape, deterring it temporarily by hitting it with a rocket-propelled grenade. A short distance away, the TX pursues them on foot, cutting through the roof of the hearse, before they drive under a semi-truck trailer, which scrapes off the roof and leaving the TX behind. The Terminator has been programmed to take Connor and Brewster to a safe location so that they will survive Judgment Day, set to occur in a few hours. The Terminator tells John and Kate that Kate's father is also on the TX's list of targets. after the destruction of Cyberdyne systems. When John insists that they attempt to prevent Skynet from being activated, the Terminator refuses, saying he's not programmed to follow John's orders. Kate insists that the Terminator aid them in rescuing her father, and the Terminator complies, saying it's programmed to follow her direction. At his command base, Kate's father is dealing with early indications of serious problems with the public cell, communications, internet, and satellite transmissions, apparently in the form of a virus. TX enters the secure facility disguised as a female airman, unchecked by any security. She finds, activates, and assumes control of several T-12 cyborg hunter-killers. The Terminator, Brewster, and Connor enter the secure CRS facility unopposed and arrive in the master control room too late to prevent her father and the military from activating Skynet. The Terminator repulses the TX attack, sending it down an elevator shaft. Connor asks the dying general for the supposed location of Skynet's system core. The general takes them to his office, where the access codes are located in his safe. En route, they are attacked by two T-12 cyborgs, which the Terminator defeats by detaching one unit's head and using its own GEM-134 minigun against the other unit. General Brewster tells Connor to go to Crystal Peak, a hardened military base in the Sierra Nevada mountains. The Terminator fights the TX and tells Brewster and Connor to get to his plane on the nearby runway. The TX and the Terminator fight until the TX defeats the Terminator, after which she injects him with nanomachines. As Connor and Brewster escape, they follow a particle accelerator towards the runway, but they are attacked by a small hunter-killer. Brewster suddenly seizes a AKMS assault rifle and destroys one of the robots. John remarks that she suddenly reminds him of his mother, en route to the aircraft runway. The TX attacks them. Connor turns on the particle accelerator, and its massive electromagnetic energy attracts the TX so strongly it cannot remove itself. The Terminator reboots and reattaches its head, partially detached by the TX. In the particle accelerator loop, the TX appears to be disintegrating, but manages to engage an electric saw. In the airplane hangar, Connor and Brewster attempt to board the light aircraft, but the Terminator attacks them, powerless to stop itself because of the TX's injected nanomachines. Connor reminds him of his primary mission, to protect Connor and Brewster. The Terminator is able to override the TX's programming and shuts itself down before it kills Connor. Connor and Brewster fly to Crystal Peak. However, shortly after they arrive, they are attacked by the TX, who crash lands a helicopter into the base's entrance tunnel. As they frantically try to open the blast doors, the Terminator, which had rebooted its core functions, crash lands a second, larger helicopter and smashes the TX under its wreckage. Even with its legs severed, the TX continues to pursue Connor and Brewster, but the Terminator traps it under a blast door. The Terminator then coldly tells the TX, "You are terminated," before the fuel cell explodes, destroying both of them. Connor and Brewster prepare to detonate the C4 they have brought with them, only to discover that Crystal Peak does not house Skynet's core, but is rather a Cold War-era fallout shelter for high-ranking government officials. General Brewster sent them there to protect them from the impending nuclear holocaust initiated by Skynet. John remarks in voiceover that Skynet did not have a core, but is distributed software that is located in the cloud on multiple networks and computers all over the world. Skynet begins a series of nuclear attacks on cities across the world, commencing Judgment Day. Soon after the attacks, the communications equipment at Crystal Peak picks up transmissions from amateur radio operators and Montana's civil defense, to which Connor responds as the person in charge. Well, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, and see ya soon.